At a conference last year, a man came up to L.A. Marzulli and wanted to talk to him alone. Marzulli had met this man before, so there was a certain degree of familiarity. However, nothing could have prepared Marzulli for what he was about to hear.
I just told you I spent 28 years working in top-secret classified military intelligence operations, and nothing was related to this conference we're having here, but one of the most honest men that I worked with, that's about 60 years old, was over my home 6 months ago and said he has a brother-in-law that works in a similar compartment of top-secret classified operations, and that he actually works somewhere in the Southwest in a desert area with these aliens, because I was trying to explain to him about what I've been learning through you and through these conferences about what are these UFOs and aliens. They're really demonic angels that are coming in and out of these dimensional portals. And he actually confirmed in my home that his brother-in-law works in another area of the government that we can't talk about, but it dealt with these aliens and he works side by side with them.
Did he describe what they looked like?
No, he just told me what he has heard through his brother-in-law, who also wouldn't exaggerate or pull his chains.
Did his brother-in-law, why did he confide in him? Any idea?
Yes, and just fear and anxiety, and that's probably why Tim shared that with me.
Did his brother-in-law state whether he felt they were benevolent or malevolent?
We didn't get into that. He was very careful just to give me a hint that as I was explaining things I've learned through you and my own experiences in life, that his brother-in-law actually works with these non-human entities, exactly.
And did he give you is it ongoing now? I get the impression that...
Yeah,
this was going on.
I still talk to this gentleman who retired and came back into the world we worked in, and this stuff is continuous.
Continuing.
And then based on what I've learned just through watching the History Channel, Nazi Germany, this has been an ongoing...
From the 40s.
Right.
Wow. So... A gentleman who has to remain anonymous due to security clearances has just come on the record and told me some startling information.
When the Nazis held power in World War II, we know for a fact that they built deep underground bases in Peenemünde and other secret areas. We've heard rumors of a pact that was made during the Eisenhower years between so-called extraterrestrials and our government. Is this a ruse, or is it based in fact? Now someone who was in the Navy and who has remained silent for decades comes on the record, and his story corroborates what we just heard from our first whistleblower. It seems that there is more here than what meets the eye.
I'm in an undisclosed location with a gentleman whom we'll call George, who's going to come on the record and tell us a very, very interesting story. What's interesting about it to me is it confirms what we've heard rumors about basically for years, in fact decades. Someone came and took you in California to what can only be described as an underground base. Tell us what happens.
Well, what happened this particular evening, we took this long 1.5 to 2 hour drive, and it was in the middle of nowhere. All I could remember seeing is pitch black. And we were headed towards this mountain. There was a dim light, and then he pushed some kind of button or signaled something, and I saw lights come on. And as we approached this heavily fortified area, I remember going through like 3 or 4 separate checkpoints. And when we reached to the final checkpoint, they scanned his iris, his eyes, and he did it seems like he passed his hand on a device and there was a beep that went off. So as we entered this base, we had this transport vehicle that looks like a...
Kind of like a golf cart, but retrofitted something?
Yes, okay. Exactly. So we went deeper and deeper into this place, heavily guarded everywhere.
You're going down the whole time, deeper into the mountain.
We're going down, we're going sideways, and we entered this restricted area. I remember these heavily armed guards passing probes of some sort over our bodies. And we entered this area and I just saw blue dim lights. And in the middle area there were several different vehicles. These vehicles seemed like they were UFOs. These objects just seemed like they were out of science fiction. I did not recognize what they were. Some was disc-shaped, but it was nothing I've ever seen before on standard conventional military bases. And at that time I was exposed to many different aircrafts and different flying.
So this was nothing that you've seen before, top secret, but did it seem like it was one of ours or something else?
It seemed like it was something else, totally foreign.
There were beings present in this heavily fortified, secured area.
The entities was about 300 feet to 400 feet on some sort of balcony.
Like a platform or a balcony up high?
Yes.
So they're looking down on everything.
They're looking down on everything.
What did the beings on the balcony look like?
It seems that the being in the balconies, they were dressed in these pale green robes. I could not recognize their eyes because of the lighting. They seemed to have like a gray tone to their skin. Their heads was greatly elongated. They have distinctive kind of like cheekbones. Their eyes was larger than normal. It was mostly black from what I could see.
Okay.
And it seemed that they were given direction to the workers.
Did you ever see any of the craft actually fly?
I've seen it hover
Okay.
in the base.
Did it make any sound when it hovered?
Whistling sound, and it was a emanation. It was like a glowing light.
Glowing light, okay. Getting back to the very tall figures on the balcony, and I realized they were a distance away from you, but how tall would you estimate them to be? And did you ever see one up close?
I've never seen them up close. They maintained a distance, and they were approximately, I'd say, over 9 feet tall. Our government and many other governments is forming an alliance together and with these beings, and they want to usher in some kind of centralized government that all nations, the whole world, will be under.
George, I want to thank you so much for coming on the record, and I thank you for your boldness, and we really appreciate it.